There are moments when the sky feels like stone. You pray, but nothing answers. You scream, and the silence screams back. But here's the twist. That silence is not absence. It is a message louder than thunder waiting to be heard. When the divine voice disappears, the human soul begins to tremble. This silence breaks us open. It forces us to stop, to wonder, to listen differently. It is not God who is gone. It is our perception that must evolve. Let us go deeper. Let us walk through the silence together. In the story of Job, everything collapses. His wealth, his children, his health. And God remains silent. Job does not walk away. He rages, he questions, he stays. That silence shapes him. Even Jesus, nailed to a cross, cried, "Why have you forsaken me?" He, too, entered the abyss. When God is silent, it is not proof of abandonment. It is the universe reshaping your soul. Faith that functions only when things go well is convenience, not faith. Silence tests what is real. It strips away performance and leaves us naked, and that is where rebirth begins. What if silence is sacred? What if God's silence is an invitation rather than rejection? Moses met God in a cloud. Elijah heard him in the whisper after the storm. God's voice often hides behind noise, ego, pride. Silence strips all that away. Only then can we truly hear. God does not disappear. He withdraws to reveal what remains when everything else is gone. In the silence, we are not just seeking God. We are being sought by Him. Every myth begins in the dark. Heroes are forged in silence, in exile, in struggle. Jung called it the encounter with the shadow, the unseen self that blooms only in darkness. When God goes quiet, our inner depths start to speak, and transformation ignites. Silence births archetypes: the seeker, the outcast, the redeemer. In the quiet, identity dissolves, and then reforms. The soul is stretched to its limits, and through that breaking, purpose emerges. We must descend before we ascend. The silence is the descent. St. John of the Cross called it the dark night of the soul. It is not punishment, it is purification. When God is silent, maybe He is closer than ever, but hidden, waiting for us to stop performing, to surrender, to listen. Not for answers, but for truth. Real listening does not begin until the ego dies. God speaks most when we speak least. In silence, illusions collapse. We stop begging for outcomes and start asking real questions. Who am I without approval, without certainty, without comfort? The answers come not as words, but as presence. Weight that leaves a mark you carry forever. Silence is not emptiness. It is a womb, a sacred void where something new is conceived. Seeds grow in darkness. Your spirit does too. Perhaps God is not ignoring you. Perhaps He is growing something in you that cannot grow under noise. The void terrifies because it is unpredictable. But every resurrection requires a tomb. Every awakening begins with sleep. Let the darkness do its work. Let the silence speak. When it is over, you will not be who you were. You will be stronger, more awake, dangerous to your old limitations. Most people run. They numb the ache with distraction. The brave stay. They stare into the quiet. In that stillness, they hear the whisper that changes everything. Not a shout, but a whisper. Sometimes the whisper saves your life. Do not short-circuit the process. Do not chase noise just to feel something. Stay. Breathe. Let the silence tear down your walls. It is not destroying you. It is rebuilding you from the inside out. A new version of you awaits on the other side of this silence, clearer, grounded, unshakable. You need not more answers. You need more presence. You need to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. You are not broken. You are becoming. This silence is not a curse. It is a calling. A sacred pause between chapters of your story. A moment when heaven holds its breath, waiting for you to awaken, to stand, to become the person you were always meant to be, not because God shouted, but because you finally heard him in the quiet. This is the testing ground of real faith, not the faith that dances when the sun shines, but the faith that keeps walking in the dark, that builds altars in the desert, that prays even when there is no reply. This silence is not the end. It is a beginning disguised as stillness. If you are in that silence now, do not give up. Do not numb it. Do not curse it. Let it teach you. Let it change you. One day you will look back and realize the silence did not break you. It built you. In that building you will become a shelter for others. You will become the voice for those still wandering in their own quiet nights. You will carry the stillness with you, not as a scar, but as a sword. That is the power of divine silence. You are not waiting. You are being forged. The pain you feel is the stretching of your soul. The confusion is the softening of your pride. The silence is the sound of chains breaking. The old you falls away, and the new you rises, built for impact, truth, leadership. This silence is your cocoon. Soon you will emerge with wings. You have survived storms before. You have carried burdens in the dark. Do not let this moment lie to you. You are not stuck. You are stationed, strategically placed in a divine pause, not to punish, but to prepare. God does not waste pain. He repurposes it. What feels like stillness today will become strength tomorrow. The silence is not empty. It is full of revelation, preparation, recalibration. So breathe. Speak softly to yourself. I am not finished yet. I am being sharpened. Now, I may not hear God, but I trust He hears me. I was born for more than noise. I was born for truth. Walk through the silence with dignity, patience, and a quiet fire that cannot be put out. This is your sacred hour. Treat it as holy. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever walked through that silence? What did you discover there? What was born inside you in that emptiness? Share your story in the comments. Let someone else feel less alone. Like, subscribe, and send this to someone who is waiting in the quiet. Because sometimes silence is the loudest sermon heaven ever preaches.